Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am so happy that you're here. I really missed you guys, and I really appreciate those of you that have stuck around. I know it's been a while. The summer has been crazy, and I just really needed to be present for all that's going on in my personal life right now. But I did spend some of that time clearing out my workspace, getting it organized because Christmas is going to be here for me any minute. But if you're new here, if this is your first time stopping by, I'm Karen, you're at the loft, and that makes you wicked smart. So without any further ado, let's get into this first BOO-tiful DIY. Here comes DIY number 1. Okay, my inspiration for this DIY came from Kelly's Unique Primitives, and I will have the link in the comment section for her website. This is actually all made out of wood. It's all wood, and it stands 40 inches tall. It's a porch leaner, but I'm going to make a smaller version. Mine actually is also made out of wood, but it can be easily done with some Dollar Tree poster board, foam board, or one of their long flat signs, and maybe a wood round for the head. Okay, so my dad had cut this template for me many years ago, and I used to make them every year. And he would take out his little templates and he would cut me some new wood, and I would turn these into little trick-or-treaters. But I'm going to turn this one into a mummy, and I'm going to keep this for myself because this was made by my dad. And if I have to recreate this, I will recreate it with either some Dollar Tree signs or some foam board. But I'm going to take this drop cloth, and for all these DIYs today, I used the same piece of drop cloth. I don't remember exactly how big it was, but it wasn't that expensive. But I did wash it and bleach it before I used it. And that makes a big difference, especially for these ghosts, because it helps the fabric drape nicer. It makes it softer. It takes out that stiffness of the drop cloth. So I'm going to put the finished edge along the bottom, and I'm going to wrap it around, and I'm going to use my staple gun to do that and get it nice and tight. And on the back, I'm just going to fold in this edge, and I'm going to staple that down so I have a nice clean finish on the back side. So when I would make these into little trick-or-treaters, you could see those little blocks there. That would actually be the front, and I would thrift little kids' shoes, and I would put the blocks in the shoes with some rocks for weight to hold it up. And you can see there I just kind of tucked all that extra fabric in around the neck. And now for the face, where his little eyes are going to be peeking out, I'm just going to make like a random quick little triangle shaped area on his face. Now I've taken some foam board from the Dollar Tree and I've cut it into these slots, and I'm using my hot glue gun just to wrap it like a present. I'm just getting them all wrapped up, folding the sides over, just like you would a present. And I believe I did 5 of them. Okay, so I got 5 of them all cut up and wrapped. Okay, so here I am. I'm trying to figure out which way I want his little pieces to go. And on the original, this was all wood. She used wooden slats for the body, and you'll see here that I used these little iron-on bats that I cut out from my Cricut. But how cute would that be for little wooden bats if you could find the right size? Oh my gosh, that would be so cute. So I get it all figured out, and I get the placement all figured out where I want everything to go. And I get these little bats ironed on with my little mini press. Get out my parchment paper. I'm going to hold that down for a few minutes. Doesn't take long. And then peel the vinyl back. Easy peasy, right? So now I need to figure out how I'm going to cut the fabric to get around the face underneath these little pieces. And when I do that, I get that glued on. I'm not being too neat about it. And get it wrapped around the back. I'm not being too neat about that either, because I'm going to cut a circle, all by itself, and I'm going to glue that to the back of the head to cover up all those bits. You can see I did that there. Now I just need to cover up around the neck where I brought the two pieces of fabric together. That's going to be where I'm going to rip a strip of the drop cloth, and I'm going to use that to tie a bow around his neck. And when you do that, something really cool happens, like it automatically kind of curls up on you. It was really cute. So here I am. I'm just getting his little bandages on his face. I'm getting his little bandages wrapped around his body. And then I'm going to go in and antique it around the edges with some antiquing wax just to dirty it up a little bit and put on his little bow. And then this little guy will be complete. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love him. Let's get on to DIY number 2. So I've got tons of spindles in my stash, always. And these are 2 of 4 from a table that I broke off of an old table. The top was not repairable. And I'm giving them a good wipe down. And I'm going to give them a good sanding around all the turns and the edges. And get the raw wood exposed in those areas. And then I'm going to give it a good rub down here with some antique wax to bring out to dirty up that new wood. And if you guys are not putting antique wax on your black paint projects, you're missing out. It really does enrich the black. It really makes it really, really nice. Gives it a really nice finish. So I got both of those done. And I thrifted these little booties. They're from Old Navy, but I got them at Savers. And they're a girl size 6, just to give you a reference. And I really hate to do this because they're in really good shape. But I'm going to take some air dry clay. And I'm going to make 2 little balls. And I'm going to wrap that clay around the end of each one of the spindles. It's giving me weight, and it's also giving me something to kind of adhere and glue into the shoe. I should also tell you, before I did this, I took a heavy-duty reusable grocery bag, the heavy ones that you have to pay for. I cut it in half, And I stuffed each toe with one of those bags just to give it some support so the toe didn't collapse on me. So you can see here, I'm just sticking the air dry clay around, and I'm squeezing it all, getting it nice and tight and getting it small enough so that it fits into this shoe. And once I get that in there and I get it glued in and I get it all straight, I'm going to stuff it with some Spanish moss. See, I did that there, and that really helps it holds everything into place. So here I am. I'm going to dirty up these shoes now, which I really hate to do because they're super cute, but I'm going to add a little Mod Podge and a little bit of cinnamon, and I'm going to get these all dirtied up. Did you catch that bow on the back of those shoes? Cute little detail. So I got this, I think it's about 8-inch, 7 or 8-inch styrofoam ball from Joann's with a coupon. And if you saw my Pottery Barn dupe ghost from last year, you'll see that I used it for that. So it already had one hole already poked in it. And I poked in another hole, and I am loading it up with glue. And I'm getting these placed in there and letting them dry completely and let that glue harden up. So I had to do this off camera because it was just so big. But I cut about a 36-inch circle out of the drop cloth for her body and draped it over the styrofoam ball. And now I'm going to make her eyes. And I cut a couple of ovals out of some felt and a little bit bigger on the drop cloth, just to add a little bit of extra detail. And I'm going to get those glued on, and you will see in the final reveal that I ended up taking I take a picture with the pumpkin, you'll see in a minute, but then I end up taking the pumpkin off. I don't know, there was something, just liked it more, just neutrally, just all by itself. So here I am. I'm going to put the little eyes on, and I'm going to get the pumpkin attached. I did attach it with the little Velcro tabs from the Dollar Tree, so it wasn't like I didn't glue it to the drop cloth, luckily, because I ended up wanting to take it off. But you'll see it all here in the final reveal. Are you holding on to some spindles in your stash? Let me know if you're going to give this a try. And let's get into DIY number 3. You're going to need a couple of these little booties from the Dollar Tree in the baby shower section. And I'm going to take some air dry clay. And I wanted to stuff the toe, but the toe is not hollow. Only the little part where the spindle is going to go. And I didn't have enough room in there. So I thought to myself, I'm going to have to put the clay on the outside because I needed to add some weight to these shoes. And when I was doing that, I had the idea to completely transform them and add a little curly point to the front of these and turn them into little witches' booties. Oh my gosh, you guys, are those not the cutest things? And it actually worked to my advantage that this air-dried clay was getting old and dried out because it caused some cracking in the end, and it just made them look that much more old and worn. So if you saw my patriotic summer video, you saw how I used these little mini spindles from Amazon. I got them in a bag, and I'll have the link in the comments. And I had distress painted them white, but I just added some Beetlejuice vibes with some black stripes, and I'm going in with my little finger sander, and I am distressing the crap out of them, getting them all beat up. I do that with both of them. You can see the difference here. And then I go in with some antique wax and I get them all antiqued up. I'm going to put them into the little booties, add some Spanish moss to hold them into place. And then you will see, oh yeah, I also dirty these shoes up with a little bit of cinnamon and Mod Podge. And when I get that done and I get them all dry and I get the legs in there, you'll see up in the right-hand corner, there's a couple pieces of styrofoam. One is a half of a ball from the Dollar Tree, the 2-pack, the larger balls. And the other piece is the bottom 2 inches of a Dollar Tree cone. I had cut them in my last video when I made the jumbo back to school photo props. I just put that out last week if you caught that. And, you know, it's not hoarding if you're going to use it, right? Says my good friend Wendy. And I did not want to throw them out because styrofoam can be expensive. It adds up. So I end up gluing the half of the ball to what I had left of the cone, which gave me a little bit more styrofoam to poke the legs into. Because if I was only going to poke them, if I had a full ball, let's put it this way, if I had a whole styrofoam ball, I would have just poked the legs into the ball. But I only had a half of a ball, and I didn't want the legs to poke out the top. So I added it to this scrap piece of the cone that I had. So here I am, I'm brushing all of that excess cinnamon off. And I'm going to get these all ready to be put together. I'll get her cute little spindle legs glued into her little booties, and then I'll get the top of the spindles into the styrofoam, and you'll see how I prepare those 2 pieces of styrofoam for her head. I'm making a couple of little bows for her booties out of some twine. And I don't know where the footage went. I'm sorry of me cutting the 16-inch circle of the canvas and then drawing on her little eyes. And can you believe that these little booties from the Dollar Tree were turned into these wicked cute little witches shoes, you guys? It just blows me away. I love her. Now I'm going to give her a hat. Now, if you saw my Temu Halloween haul video that I did last year, sorry, they sent me a bunch of craft supplies and I did a Halloween video for them. And I made this little ghost. So I'm going to take this hat. I'm going to rip it right off. And it's a little bit too shiny and blingy for me. So I'm going to, I'm going to antique it up with a little bit of wax. And a little bit of Mod Podge and cinnamon too, I think I put on this. I saved that little black piece of mesh for some sturdiness. And I'm going to make a bow out of a piece of drop cloth and some buffalo check that I'm going to kind of antique and some twine. So I'm just going to kind of take down the shine on that silver spider web. It was just a little bit too blingy for me. And then I just put a little bit of cinnamon right over the wax. I didn't even use any Mod Podge. I just wanted to kind of dull that down a little bit, and I make her hat. And while I was cleaning my craft room, you guys, one of the good things is I found some things that I forgot that I had. And one of them was a sheet of scrapbook paper that has little tags of the alphabet and numbers printed on it. I think I probably got it at Hobby Lobby. And I cut out the 3 and the 1 to make like a 31 tag. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I had moved her little body so close to her hat and that you really can't see me making the bow here. But I'm just kind of layering them on top of each other. First the mesh, then the drop cloth, then the buffalo check, and then the little piece of twine. And then I get out my little paper numbers and I crinkle them up, add a little antique wax to the edges, and I found some cute little, what do they call them? The little studs that you poke through the paper when I used to make like paper crafts and cards. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what you call them. But I add those to the tags and then I glue those right on, and then this little witchy poo is done. And I did have, I don't know if you can see it up in the right-hand corner, it's a little bat ring from the Dollar Tree. And I wasn't sure if I was going to put that in the middle of her bow or the numbers, the 31. And I went with the 31 because the bat was black and it kind of blended in. You couldn't really see it too well. But I did end up just kind of clipping it to the side of her like it was on her arm, or maybe she was holding it in her hand. You guys, I am obsessed with her cute little legs and the detail in her hat. I just can't. Let me know what you think. And let's get into DIY number 4. I got this pillow from Dollar General a couple of years ago, and I've spot cleaned it a little bit here and there. It's seen better days. But I'm going to put a little Dropcloth ghosty on the back. And I traced it out by hand with pencil, and then I took my tacky glue and I drew along that pencil and I rubbed it in and waited for it to be completely dry before I cut it so it would not fray on me. And then I'm going to take a cute little iron-on decal that I cut out of my Cricut. I'm going to iron that on. And also, while I was cleaning out my workspace, I found a small little piece of some pom-pom fringe from a pillow that I had decoupaged, and I will leave that link to that video in my comment section because I get a lot of questions about that. And I loved this trim, and I didn't want to throw it away. It was not a huge piece. I didn't know what I would ever use it for. I thought maybe I would just snip the pom-poms off of it and use it for something, individually like that. But when I found it in my stash, I knew it would be perfect for the bottom of this little ghost. So I get that decal ironed on, and now I'm going to cut a piece of this thin batting, and I'm going to cut it exactly a 1/2 inch shorter all the way around, so that when I glue this onto the pillow and I push that glue and that edge of the drop cloth into the pillow, I get a nice finished edge. And you'll see how I get the pom-poms all glued on the inside edge, and how I get the other side of this pillow finished up. What do you guys think? Super quick and easy way to transform a pillow that you already had in your stash. In fact, it was so easy and quick, I'm going to do it again in DIY number 5. So I had this lumbar pillow, and it's really beaten up. I was actually going to throw it out. But I turned it over and I said, let's use it the long way. And I cut out another sticker from vinyl with my Cricut, and I had to use vinyl and not the iron-on, which is a bummer, because the iron-on, it just comes out so perfect on fabric. But I made this work, and I know it's probably only going to last me this season, maybe next season, before the vinyl probably starts popping off of it. But I did my best to get it on there, and took a little bit to peel it off, but I just took my time. And I really love how this came out. I love the font. I love the 31. I like that it's long and skinny, and it'll just look cute with my other pillows just going in the up and down direction with all my other ones. Let me know what you think. I think I just decided I'm going to go get some more iron on vinyl and do this pillow over. I love it. All right, DIY number 6, our last DIY, more of a quick little makeover. I got this chunky little ghost from the Dollar General, and I absolutely love it, except for the front. I am not vibing with those rainbowy, iridescent vibes at all. But I do love this little wooden detail on the front that says Boo. And I'm going to take that off very carefully. I did break the exclamation point, but I will take care of that later with a little bit of glue. So I get that off and I clean that up. And I'm going to paint the back of it actually, so I don't have to deal with the front of it. And I'm going to give the back of it 2 coats of some white chalk paint. And then I'm going to go sand down the edges. And I found this leather, they're calling it leather, at the Dollar Tree last year. Came in a couple of different little patterns, and I loved this one with all the little typography for Halloween. And I'm just going to use this to cover up all of that iridescent stuff rather than try and peeling all of that off. I can't be bothered. And then I'm going to also rub the edges with the antique wax when I do the front. I'm going to paint the little Boo black. I'm going to glue that back on, and this little makeover will be complete. And I figured that it's the perfect size for a tiered tray. So if you're going to be seeing it from the back, this would be a cute little detail. And if you've been with me for a little bit, you know one of my favorite hacks for the Dollar Tree cutouts is to glue an entire pack together to get this nice chunky piece. Okay, so just take all the pieces, glue them together, sand down the edges, and then you end up with this nice little piece of chunky wood that stands up all on its own. And they're even chunkier now because now I think the packs come in a pack of 8, and they used to come in a pack of 5. So you get a nice chunky piece of wood when you're finished. One of my favorite hacks. I absolutely love it. Now I'm going to get my paint on, and I'm just going to let you guys watch while I get this little ghosty finished up. All right, everybody, you know what to do. Please talk it up in the comments. Let me know which one is your favorite, if you can pick a favorite. I am not sure that I can from this video. So much cuteness. I absolutely love every single one of them. Let me know if you give any of them a try. I appreciate your time, you guys. Thanks so much for being here. And if you have found any value in anything that you learned today, please share it with your friends and family. I'd really appreciate the sprinkle and show me the love by pushing all those YouTube buttons. And until the next time, you guys, I'll see you then.